see you again. Good morning. We've all heard the words, or maybe not all, but we can say, I can say, but to all who are concerned, we've heard. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called the children of God. So, what does that mean? Children of God as what? Those with forked tongues, those with swords in their hands or guns, with wrath in their hearts. Is that what we call the children of God? Sounding more like the children of the devil, so to speak, darkness, lovelessness, and so on and so forth. So I feel that it serves beings who are considered religious in nature to put a microscope on some of these catastrophic phrases like that. Who are these beings that are called children of, let's say, God or divinity, so on? And who are these peacemakers? Where are they? Are they from the right, the left, the front or behind? Are they from above? And what does it mean, coming from above? Because we see wrath coming in from all directions. From the sky, from the ocean, from the earth, from the planets, from space even. So what does it mean? We're talking about preachers, ministers, full of these things, full of bigotry, intolerance. Are these the messengers? Are these the peacemakers? Putting nation against nation, color against color. These are the peacemakers. You have to ask yourself, what God are they coming from? The God of love? Where is it? Or the God of lovelessness? I think the answer is obvious to all people who are practicing and who pretend to practice and who need to practice in the ways of spirit, beyond this world.
What conditions would bring us back to a more recognizable focus on peace?
Having peace in your heart. You had an earlier question. Go back to that.
Is your music religious music?
In this case, there is no intention for it to be anything. Where it comes from is spirit in a manner of speaking. Where I meet it is at a certain kind of midway threshold, an interdimensional, let's say, psychic space. And it would be useful to say, maybe mysterious to say, that something that is given for sacred use, not necessarily to be labeled as such, but what I've called the effort here is heart fire sound, which is not more than a very basic, maybe even primitive description of the forces at play in the production of this kind of, say, or manifestation or demonstration of this type of, we won't call it an art form, won't call it a scientific form, just you can call it native expression. Okay. And it comes like flowers blossom, like that. And it needs concepts as much as blossoming flowers need concepts. See, they're part of a manifestation. See, a manifestation from the seed. And so this comes from the seed. See, the seed, the human seed, yes. And beyond that, the heart seed. It's born of the heart seed. Since it's born of the heart seed, which has no beginning and no origin, we'd have to say it's unborn. Since it's born of the heart seed, we have to say that it's unceasing, because it is part of the bigger picture of reality. Yeah. Since it's born of the heart seed, we can say that that's how it arises. So, again, like the flower opens to the sunlight. Say that the origin of it could be considered something relative to light itself. That means immateriality. Therefore, it is given, it comes, it arises of itself. And we can also say it has more to do with spirit than mind, face, culture, time, energy, and all the rest of the things that more or less describe the material condition. So, the material condition is originating in this place. Everything originates in this place. See, our speech originates from this space, yet the quality of our speech does not indicate this space all the time. Heart space, beyond words.
Are there revelations contained in your music?
Say again?
Are there revelations contained in your music?
That's up to the individual to determine, see, and what part of their body they hear from. See, so that's how it's given. If you hear from your hands, you hear accordingly. If you hear from your genitals, you hear accordingly. If you hear from your mind, you hear accordingly. If you hear from your ears, you hear accordingly. If you only hear from your eyes and looking at who's playing or whatever, then you hear accordingly. You hear from your nose, your mouth, any of your senses, you hear accordingly. If you hear from the heart, then you hear accordingly. And relative to religion, then, say, which of these comes from the heart? Not your emotions, not your conditional emotions, your prejudiced emotions, your human emotions. See? Your emotions of happiness and unhappiness and fear and anger and all the rest of it. What's going to come from that but that itself? See? And humans, is there anything deeper than yourself? See? See? And the stuff that uses you from your blood, is there anything deeper than that? See? See? We talk about the seed, right? Seed. You know, they've used the term the seed of Abraham. Well, where did that seed come from? That's the seed we need to speak about. See, not the geography of the seed. See, the geography is of the earth. The earth is material. That's not the seed. See, that might be the walk, but that's not the seed. The seed is the heart. See, the God that anybody can speak to that has any real relevance is the one of the heart. See, the same one. See, the only one. That's the one that is beyond difference. See? See? That's the one that warrants the worship. See? The heart of the heart itself. That's the majestic one. The same one in all. But how many religious people have come to terms with that possibility, let alone the truth of it or the realization of it? See? Beyond self, thought, mind, and world.
What role does ancestry play in this music?
That's the walk. The ancestry is the walk. See, it brings you here. See? It could be baggage, it could be your heart. See? See? And that determines perhaps the function, the quality of the music, and whether or not that music is the music of what I would call, see, awakening into heartfulness. or heartlessness, see? Selfishness, self-importance, see? Not heart truth, but self-importance, see? See? Which is for children, see? Not so much of God, but children of self. See? It's a world of self. See? Earth, we can say, to be honest, is a dump. See? Thanks to those who take from it for their lives, and in return, they fill the earth with garbage. Because they haven't learned enough. See? They haven't become geniuses enough to know how to purify their garbage. See? All they know how to do is just eat and crap, regardless of where it is on the earth. Because it's all the same to them. It's materialist. See? They, of themselves, truly do not smell, they do not see, they do not hear, and they don't feel. So they can't really know. If they knew, they wouldn't do what they're doing. See, as the saying goes in the old Christian Dharma, see, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. They don't see earth as yours, O Lord. They see earth as a dumping ground. And they live accordingly one to another, see, not from the heart, see, but from much less.
And are such people ignoring or fulfilling their
You know that
ancestry?
better than anyone else. You see it all around you. Just see. Just hear. Smell. And know. Music for the karmic beings out here is just a mirror to see themselves in. That's all music's about. It's to see themselves. See? To see their limitations, to see their suffering, to see the work they haven't done yet. See? And so we'd have to say then, relative to religion, it's the first step. All religions the same, it's the first step. Each and every one of them, as high and mighty as they like to glorify themselves, they are for beginners. See? They are for beginners. Babies on the path. For music, regardless of the school and geography it hails from, it's all the same. It's for beginners. For virtuosos, for preachers, it's all the same. Babies, you're just beginning. That's it. Baby step. Maybe it's an important step, maybe it isn't. Maybe it's a step backwards. You have to determine that by the fruits of your nature, your actions, and your service. If it's about money you're asking for in any case, take a good look at it. Smell it. Yeah, you need money. More than what? Okay. More than who? And if you insult yourself and your divinity by saying, well, the God needs money, who needs the height of absurdity? Listening to that. The source of all things needs money. It needs churches. Right? That which is the infinite self needs a place to stay. See? Again, look at the lack of wisdom in that. Okay? The lack of heart in that. The lack of humor.
Do you recognize sacred spaces?
Everything is sacred. See, if you speak about the God, what isn't sacred and needing to be treated accordingly? See, people are, but they don't know that, so they don't act it. See, they haven't been touched yet. Their parents haven't taught them because the parents don't know. See, send them out to these schools, which are run by people who don't know. They care about the paycheck. See, they care about being good people. So they have their work before them. See, but they're run by fears because they're not awakened to that which is beyond fear, which has something to do with their God. See, not fear, but fearlessness. See, not destruction, see, but creativeness. See, not barbarianism. See, Jesus was not a barbarian. Take a look. See the example there. And this is not about being Christian, it's about being native. See, native human being who's acting as a human being. From the heart. See? From the heart. Where what's real and what's true stems from the heart itself. For each and every one. Coming from the same source. Worthy of the same respect. Not because of color, but because of heart. Beyond color. See? Anything less is heartlessness. Called heart. Called passion. Called conviction. Called concern. Called religion. Called music. Called every name in the book. See? And amounting to the same old thing. See? Difference. See? Desire and destruction. Which are for beginners. Good step. First step.
Is there a shock function in your music to open people
No
up?
intentions such as that, nor is there a shock function in an earthquake, a volcanic eruption, or any kind of disaster that happens relative to the forces of nature and so on and so forth. Awakening is not necessarily like that, but some of these things can be useful in terms of startling people, stopping them from their machinery, programming, mechanical, sort of instinctual patterns of behavior and so on, inherited through the blood, unconscious, the blood unconscious, not the blood awakened, see? The heart unconscious, the mind and body unconscious, not awakened, such, see?
Are people able to listen to your music the way they listen to other and more conventional forms of music?
I can't answer for other people. I give it as it's given, and let it be what it is. See, there's more freedom to speak from what it is. See? Because the music is silence, and it is for the few. Because it doesn't come from here, so it doesn't speak about what's here. So there's no wonder that it's not heard here, because who is here to hear it for what it is and where it comes from? So everything is in order. So it is perfect. You have to have the ears to hear. Those who have the ears to hear, hear. See, going further than that, those who have the ears to hear, see. Those who have the eyes to see, hear.
Are you able to play more conventional forms of music without compromise?
Assuming I'm playing anything, it can do whatever it does as needed in the moment. So, whatever it does as needed in the moment from where it comes from, regardless of form, regardless of appearance, and let that be the law universally, regardless of appearance, it is what it is. Who understands that? Who sees that? Who hears that? See? Who feels that and who knows that? Relative to the heart. That's the big question. See? From what part of the body do you know anything? See? Let the heart have its way.
When you perform, your music is heard, but does it also hear?
Does the music hear?
Yeah.
The music is here. Okay. Okay. The music, if you want to call it that, again, is not about perception. See? It's not about that. See? See? Your ears are supposed to hear. See? But can your heart hear? See? That's what needs to receive. The music doesn't need to receive anything. See? Music doesn't need ears. See? See? Your human nature needs ears, see? Because you're on this planet of purgatory in order to, or the dump as such, see? In order to awaken to what real hearing is, and what real seeing, what real perceiving is, see? From the heart. See? And the way to that is through what we call the spirit, which is not something you can put in your pocket. It's the immaterial side of all of this that gives all of this that people perceive life, or apparent life, see, reality. So we as human beings, conditioned by materialism, see the appearance only. Do not see the heart of it. Do not see the essence of anything. See, we're looking at things, not through things, to origin. We're looking at things to see ourselves reflected in the mirror of our perceptions, and then believing that's who we are and so on. But not knowing for sure. Therefore, people by nature go through all kinds of changes. See, they marry who they think they love because they love what they think they see and what they think they know, and it disappears on them. You're born into life, and because you have a moment of life on the earth in the full spectrum of infinite time, space, you think you know what reality is. You have to see beyond that. See the appearance of life and death, see, and understand what it is. See. Not merely where it comes from, which is maybe a baby step, see, tracing something back to its infinite origin. See. Useful, but it doesn't mean anything unless you take it home to here, the heart nature. See, it all comes from you. Right? All of it is you. But is that realized rather than theorized? See? Is it reality rather than assumption or presumption, basically? That's what practice is about. Transforming doubt into realization. And then what you see is only an answer. Everything is the answer. Everything is already the answer. It is the answer. It is what it is. But at what level? To what being, from what part of their body, or their confused mind, so to speak. Their suffering. Their disconnectedness or perception of such. Unhappiness.
And does such realizations change one's world, or does one realize that nothing changes through such a realization?
Well, things change and things don't change. Things change and something doesn't change. See, what is it and who is it that sees change and that which isn't change?
Are there physically inaudible components to your music?
If you can hear, hear. If you can't, you can't. There's nothing to hear. See?
Are there things that are inaudible that affect the listeners?
Not sure these are questions. I think you have your answers in your questions.
And for developing musicians, do they look to...
I mean, your real question is who hears what. I'm not here to answer who hears what. Say. Yeah. I'm not here to answer who plays what. Yeah. I'm not here to answer why so-and-so plays what they play. Say, look at what karma is. Understand that. That answers all your questions.
And does creating music create karma?
If you know, you know. See? Yeah. You're not going to find anything in your questioning. Although your question is the answer that you need to look at properly. Yeah? Because that reflects you. I've said it, I'll say it again. The practice of music is for beginners. The practice of religion is for beginners. The practice of anything and everything on the earth is generally for beginners. Especially in terms of people who are here from wherever they come from. Wherever in the universes of time, space, energy, matter, and beyond, they arise here as beings to come into this fray or into this mix. They have to find their place, see, in the theater of their river of blood karma, but not to be that. See, so already, what you're talking about is invalid beyond the point. It's not really a question. See, like saying, is it necessary to have a mother and a father? See, do they have to be good? That's the nature of your questions. So they don't become questions unless we're talking to children, in kindergarten, in a sense. These are kindergarten questions. Some are useful, some are not answerable because they deserve silence as a response. Now, do you have a question above those questions? Or do you have more of the same questions? So you're stuck at that plane of questions, then you need to stop questioning because you're reinforcing your condition. To see beneath, beyond, or through that. See? Get out of your head for a second, go deeper. See? It's your right to be deeper for a moment. Ask a question from the heart. Proceed.
What lies beyond being a beginner?
I think you've already answered that. By your appearance, you already know what lies beyond being a beginner. More. Let's just say more. Next question, more. And then more and more and more. And in the sense of more, you're getting not only an answer, but you're getting a method. Okay, more, opening, more and more and more. See, beyond appearance. See? And then it's a matter of how much can you open? See, beyond what you do and what you think. See, and what uses you. See, what befuddles your mind and your karma, as such. So you have to try to change your karma. Yes. So you have to open more. See? Because in terms of the truth of each soul that's out here, the answers are within you. That's very, let's say, primitive language, see, because it's not really anywhere inside you. It's a phrase that is used in the traditions throughout the world and worlds, throughout all the worlds, see, to open more. See. Open more, to open. See. In other words, to access the great expanse, as it may be called in some traditions. We're talking about the universal space. It's there, because you are that, see, but you're prone to be petty, you're prone to be little, you're prone to be a self, you're prone to be a human, and that's it, that's a starting point, see. And if all you see in the mirror of the universe is that, then you need to open more, there's more, that's all, it's not a problem, see. It's not a criticism, see, it's an observation. There's more, see. The universe is vast. Are you that vast? See. In potential, yes, because you and the universe are the same thing. And in self case, it has assumed crystallization to a certain kind of material point, see, and not opening more to what it is, where it is, see, and what it really is, see, and then it limits itself. And so this then requires a certain kind of intuition and already knowing, see, of the universe, see, and feeling the space, but not as physical space, but awareness itself, see, being the awareness, see, of the universe. And the universe then is not a material place. The universe then is huge beingness. It's the starting point. That begins a whole other realm of, let's say, moreness, deeper. See, you have that word too, deeper. See. Some use the word higher frequency into light. We'd say, well, deeper, it's just as good. See, into the earth, deeper and deeper into the earth of nothing. See.
So,
and that is practice. See, that's the process. See. Some would say that's part of the wisdom trek. Part of the universalization of consciousness, rather than in the creation of difference, see, limiting consciousness, see, to intolerance, impatience, see, heartlessness, see, wrath and hatred, see, because the person has nothing better, they have nothing more to be or to give other beings, see, than their lack of heart fullness, see? And that's what you get. You get a gun in your face, see? Because your openness is a threat to the barbarian, see? Who can't tolerate life, see? Or the heart or love, and therefore reacts to whatever appears in a negative way, conditioned to believe it is a threat to itself or its God or its imagination, however perverted or informed or so-called educated it is, see. Comment.
So this is not a moreness of accumulation, it seems to be a moreness of letting go.
It's a moreness of awareness. Yeah. Whether that requires letting go or taking on more awareness. See? Then it's a letting go of what? See? Letting go of limitation, maybe, was the concept. And being more, seeing more than just self-thought, mind, and world and such, which is a maybe small circle of perception. Maybe it's huge for other people who are coming here as even deeper levels of babiness, see, unconsciousness. See, and come here for help, come here to step up, see, come here to receive some of the grace of the heart, see, regardless of what plane and kind of a dump we're on here, see. This is still the space of grace, regardless of whether people are dumping on it or not, because, well, they're ignorance. They don't know what else to do with their dump, so they just dump it everywhere for everybody to indulge it or suffer it and such. Yeah. It's not even born of bad intention. It's all born of good intention, but it's ignorance. And the track record of human nature is to learn through tragedy and rethink things because of tragic consequences. Out of self-preservation, not out of some kind of, human goodness, but self-preservation. So you want to survive. So you want to do things so that you don't destroy yourself, so to speak, before your time. So the idea is to live a long life, a long, good life, but at what cost? What expense to your spiritual potential? And so for those who are here as religionists, they say, well, what is spirit to you? Same with the musicians. They say, well, what is spirit to you? Is it what you do? What you do? Is it what you know? So is it more than that? And if it's more than that, what does that put on you to do? If it's more than what you do and what you know. See, what does that mean? See, what does that mean then to your conditioning based upon where you come from or how you're used by your blood to be a passionate person for and against other peeps, for and against yourself. See? So we have to say, well, what does the word spirit mean? Because it's critical. It's critical in terms of what genius has meant throughout the ages of humankind and in other planets, because it's all the same. See, whether it's this planet or any of the infinite interplanets and inner planets, inner planes of consciousness. See? And now you hear even the physicists, astrophysicists saying, well, I think we're in a pretty infinite condition here now. So we keep looking, and every time you see something, you have to go beyond it because that's a wall. A lesson in itself. Everything you perceive is a wall. To where? So the question remains unanswered, except in terms of, well, maybe it's about God. See, maybe God refers to the infinite rather than somebody's, a big brother. So.
And yet, most musicians, what you're saying is very important for musicians to first develop the awareness and then reflect that, but that's not the conventional process at all.
Music to see yourself in the mirror is maybe not music at all. See, it becomes more musical materialism. See, that is binding, that is limiting. See, that is not, liberating. In a sense. See, for some people, getting a paycheck is liberation. See, it's relief, and that's as good as it gets. See, to play, to make money, see, and that's it. Then the process of making money limits the individual and determines their creation, their output, the quality of what they do. See, this is very basic. This is like before kindergarten. See, this is like learning how to drink, learning how to eat. See, this is real infanthood. See, basic learning. See, basic. Mommy shows you what to wear, how you put your clothes on, and so on. So you appear to look. You don't know why you're doing it, but you do it because you're trained to do it. See, and it's expected of you, because as a baby, you don't care if you have clothes on or not. And you learn to wear the clothes that cause you to experience respect, and that's important to you as a baby. See, that you are not punished. See, so we are talking about reward and punishment learned before you're 5 years old. And this is important. But that's often forgotten. We see, people at all ages still experiencing that. Do you like me? Do you not like me? Oh, you don't like me. What do I need to do to be liked? And so on and so forth. And we're talking about this kind of psychic accommodation that has nothing to do with who you are, really, and what's true, really. See? Because you're in the circus of, let's say, a process of being accepted. And that's more important than life itself for you. It's more important because you see people who are children, and maybe adults as well, but everyone then is a child of this level of concern of being accepted or rejected. A certain person is not accepted and thus rejected. They kill themselves. They reject the whole thing. So there you have the level of what it is. And you see it when you look more carefully at the human drama. You see it everywhere. See it manifesting in different forms. Somebody's not accepted and they want to do themselves in and go crazy. They jump off the path of, let's say, ascent, so to speak, whether that's material ascent, which is usually through education or hard work or innate skills, and, native instincts and so on, or whatever else there is out there for them to experience to the point where they find some peace. See, it's all about we call it the search for peace, but it's recovering your original peacefulness that is most important. It took this body-mind a long time to realize what it already had, what it wasn't recognizing properly because of being around people, humans, right, other babies that were still at the baby stage until I became suspect. This is for babies. This is conditioning that keeps us down. This is not liberating my fingers to do what they were given to do. Okay. And to take people back to where they come from in a manner of speaking, see? It comes through the fingers, see? From the intelligence through the heart, see? And fingers. See? So whether you're writing or painting or creating in any way. And or the tongue, see? Which is a finger, see? In terms of a kind of medium through which the inner becomes known. The inner is recognized, is expressed, see, for its purposes, for the intelligence to see it and hear it for themselves, and then to determine over time what of it goes out from the private to the public. See? And it should be, in a sense, without fear of consequence. But in this world of consequence and dumping, you have to check what you say. And you put love out that's conditional, then you might get a bullet back, see, or a bomb. You get the bomb, see. Watch for the bomb. Yeah.
So your music...
it's not my music.
Oh,
it is, but it isn't. See? It is and it isn't. See? We are deeper than self and music. See? Deeper. When you are open, what comes to you comes to you. See? Because it is given. If you're the kind of person that is self-centered, egoic in nature and limited by that, egoically defined and egoically determined, then you can say that's that person's music and that's it. That's coming from a certain place. Now, there may be moments, and even in the conversation with such people, creative people or not, and they say, oh no, this is like coming from another place. They might start to own it properly at that point. See, because it all comes from another place. See, that place is ancestry for the most part, or the ethers, the space. But only those who are self-released can say it all comes from there. See, because they want to limit it. Say, no, it's not about the self. But we have to speak in some terms, because in this materialistic sort of arrangement we have there called culture, if you don't own it, you're either ignorant, stupid, or crazy. You have to own it. It comes through you. So there's a degree of acceptance and agreement. Oh, okay, it's coming from here. My body did this and did that, and I own up to it. So there's owning it, in a sense. Because everybody else knows it. It's about time you knew it. If you're conscious, you're awakened, you know it more than anybody else where it came from. But then you see beyond that. Then there's the beyond that. You say, well, I came from my mother. Well, where'd she come from? Where'd the line come from? See, that brings us back to a fundamental question mark. And that has to do with the nature of our reality, which is the infinite. I mean, you can't express it. It's beyond your ability to describe it. That's the spirit, in a sense. That which isn't. See? But it is. It's the all-powerful which isn't. But where is it? It's got to be everywhere. And then what is it? It's everything. But what is everything? Nothing. In fire, this disappears. That means its original nature is disappearance. It's reducible to what it is. What can you reduce it to? That's the starting place. That kind of basis of origination is a starting place relative to all creation. That kind of realization then is equal to peace. It's at peace with itself. Because it's not about difference. It's not about self-thought, mind, or world, or any other appearance you can imagine. It just is what it is. Source, heart.